Well, let's talk about it now with Alex Little, who is a defense attorney, former assistant federal prosecutor. Douglas Burns joins us, also a defense attorney and former federal prosecutor. Doug, all manner of criminality is being conjured here. Doesn't the Constitution and the First Amendment give Donald Trump Jr. the right to freely associate with anybody he chooses, including a Russian, and to exchange ideas and information with any source, including a Russian?
It does, and all that does is highlight the distinction between a political discussion and a legal one. Politically speaking, people can knock themselves out till they're blue in the face. Ill-advised, bad move, shouldn't have met with whoever he met with. But as you pointed out in your recent article, which I studied closely, to be foaming at the mouth about such things as treason, which I'll come right out and say is absurd. That's aiding an enemy in a wartime context. To be throwing around this new concept of generic collusion, which, as you pointed out also in your article, is an antitrust term, is just over the top, over the front of the skis. It's too much. Everybody's got to calm down. If facts develop in a different direction, any lawyer's going to tell you that's different. Alex,
I'm reminded of Clara Peller in the old Wendy's commercial in which she kept saying, "Where's the beef?" All right, let me put it a different way. Where's the crime?
I couldn't disagree more. I think it's absurd that we're having a conversation about the president's son talking to the Russians to gather information to win an election, and somehow that's First Amendment protected. I think Thomas Jefferson, the founding fathers, would roll over in their graves if they thought that somehow the First Amendment was meant to protect collusion with foreign governments to win domestic elections.
Collusion. Name me the statute on collusion other than antitrust, which is anti-competitive in price fixing.
It's called the impeachment clause.
No.
We do not in America collude with foreign governments to win domestic elections. It is un-American, it is dishonorable, and it is wholly beneath anyone in the political sphere.
So if you receive valuable information about a crime from any source, including a Russian source or a French source or a British source, you don't think it's you think that would also be somehow an impeachment?
I think that's a naive reading of what happened here. We have Donald Jr. getting a phone call from Russians saying, from the Russian government, we've got valuable information, come talk to us. Anybody in the political sphere knows there's a quid pro quo there, or at least the Russian intelligence agencies are involved. And if you don't hesitate then, you've got some serious judgment problems.
You know, Douglas, we rely on foreign information and intelligence all the time, the government does, and people freely talk to all kinds of foreign nationals who are here. Yeah, that's not a crime, is it?
Well, my colleague has decided to ratchet it up a little, so let's ratchet it up a lot, okay? The disingenuousness and the double standard is absolutely breathtaking beyond. As if to say, Alex, that this never goes on the other side of the aisle. The DNC, let me finish, please. Let me finish. The DNC has never been involved with any other country. That's just absurd.
Give some evidence, Doug. If you're going to throw it out there, give some evidence.
You know,
Ukraine.
We've got nothing.
Ukraine. Excuse me.
We got an email.
Let me give you the latest take. Representative Jackie Speer, Nancy Pelosi, and others have declared it's an absolute violation of the campaign election laws in the United States, and therefore it's a crime. I wonder if they've ever actually read the federal election statutes. All you have to do is go to the Federal Election Commission's website. Let's put it up on the screen. Even though a foreign national cannot make a campaign contribution, he or she can serve as an uncompensated volunteer for a campaign or political party and volunteer personal services. Now, surely that includes opening your mouth and speaking, Alex Little. So where's the crime on that?
The somersaults here are pretty impressive. I mean, this is the Russian government. This is not, you know, somebody who happens to be a Mexican national.
I mean, I just read you the law.
Quid pro quo. It's the implicit quid pro quo. In December of that year, if you remember, in December, Jared Kushner is trying to set up a secret back-channel communication source with the Russians that will not be detected by American intelligence. That completes this circle.
You know,
it's not difficult.
And I believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. All right, I want to move on to another subject here. The U.S. Supreme Court giving a federal judge in Hawaii until 12 p.m. Tuesday to file a response to the request by the Department of Justice. This after the department appealed the judge's ruling in Hawaii this week to expand the president's travel ban to let in a wider range of relatives, close relatives, people already living in the United States. Doug, this was predictable. Isn't this exactly what Justices Thomas, Alito, and Gorsuch warned about when they said, you're carving a caveat without defining it?
No, you read my mind. I was going to say, so you took my words, that those three justices in their dissent in the ruling predicted that it was going to be very, very unworkable and difficult to define who's who. The government came out with a list. They did omit grandparents. In fairness, I don't think the judge in Hawaii was wrong to say that a grandparent should be on that list. But your point still stands, which is it's going to be very, very difficult to work through all of these issues. Having said that, in the fall, I think the Supreme Court is going to issue a ruling that may surprise people.
Yeah, well, they lifted the injunction. It was per curiam, which means the whole court agreed. Alex, what about this? I mean, Doug makes a good point. I think you'll probably agree. Grandparents probably should be considered close relatives. But the Hawaiian judge went further. Aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews, cousins. Like what kinds of cousins? Third removed, twice removed? Cats and dogs are now allowed? What's the deal?
This was the problem created completely by the Supreme Court and not giving any definition to what a bona fide relationship meant. They're going to get this problem back at their plate. And what they've just done is bought themselves a few months and brought us all chaos in the interim.
All right. Alex Little, Doug Burns, guys, thanks very much. Good discussion.
Thank you.
My pleasure, Greg.